Hey guys, it's Scott from the Forgot to Grow podcast, and welcome to another edition of Gettin Scott-Headed, our weekly rant series where I have to get something off my chest so that I don't go insane one day. So this week, I'm ranting about source material defenders. You might ask, what's a source material defender? Well, I'm gonna tell you, and then I'm gonna rant about it. Probably for 5 to 10 minutes. We'll see. Depends on how much steam I've got in me about this. Anyways, let's get on with it. A source material defender is an individual who cries and complains when a book or a comic book or a video game or any kind of thing gets adapted to a movie or a television show and they're not happy about it. That's a source material defender. People who are always crying about it not matching the book that it was based off of. A movie or a television show not matching back to a comic book or a book or even a video game that set movie was based off of. Yeah, it's a little wordy, I'm sorry. It's hard to explain what a source material defender is. It's pretty self-explanatory word. Anyways, my problem with source material defenders is what's your guys' problem? I don't think you understand the point of movies and television shows. All right, guys, so these people who are getting upset about, let's just use an example. Let's use books. So people who get upset when a book gets turned into a movie and they really hate that movie because it changed things and it doesn't match exactly to the original book, word for word, page for page, act for act, scene for scene, everything in the book has to be in the movie. Guess what? If people gave a shit about books, we'd read more books. But people don't care about books. Some people care about books, but most people don't. That's just the truth of the matter. That's why we turn books into movies, because people like movies. Movies are enjoyable. Same with television shows. Books can be enjoyable. I'll admit that, but they take so fucking long. It's so long. Like the Lord of the Rings trilogy, that's 19 hours of movies if you watch them all with the extended editions, and the Hobbits I think added in there. That's maybe where I'm getting the 19 from. It's actually 9 I think without. The point is, it takes you a whole day. But I guarantee you cannot read the original Lord of the Rings trilogy in a day. It's ridiculous. If you can, there's something wrong with you. Well, no, I'm actually jealous of your ability to read really quickly. But my point is no. Just no. I don't have time for that. Well, maybe I do. My point is I don't want to waste my time. I'd rather watch a movie. And that's why I don't understand. I'm not angry with source material defenders. I'm just kind of confused and baffled about what the hell your point is. You still got your book, that book or the comic book or the video game that whatever adaptation is based off of, that's still there. It's still there. Harry Potter's. You can still go read all those Harry Potter books. If you don't like any of the goddamn movies, guess what? Don't watch them. You don't have to watch them. No one asked you to watch them. I get it. You're a fan of Harry Potter, and without the source material, we would have never got Harry Potter. But guess what? Without the movies, 90% of the world wouldn't have never heard of Harry Potter. I wouldn't have read a book. I read half the Harry Potters when I was younger. But guess what? I only did that after 4 movies came out. And I was like, I'm curious what happens in the 5th. I don't want to wait another 2 years to find out. Let's read the book. That's what books are for. It's for skipping ahead when you don't feel like waiting for a movie to get made, because movies take forever. Yes, books take a long time to write too. I've never written a book. There's a reason for that. The point is, I get it. I understand why you're upset, source material defenders, kind of. I kind of understand. Yeah, they didn't faithfully adapt. Sorry. They didn't faithfully adapt your favorite book or favorite comic book page for page to the big screen. But guess what? Movies aren't books. Movies have to be told in a different way. Sometimes you have to cut things out. Sometimes you have to get rid of plot lines. Sometimes you have to change a character. Because movies appeal to a greater audience. If books appeal to a greater audience, more people would read books. I'm not trying to be all defending movies all crazy and being like, don't read. I approve of reading. I'm saying, don't tell me that I can't enjoy the Harry Potter or the Lord of the Rings series because they're not accurate to the books. I don't give a shit. So what? Your books are still there. But now I have these movies that were based off of books and comic books that I can enjoy because I hate reading. I hate it. It drives me insane. It takes forever. I like pictures. I'm a picture person. Books don't have pictures, except for children's books, and I can't read children's books because no, I'm not a child. The point is, I want to keep getting these movies, these adaptations, and I just don't want everyone to keep crying about how it doesn't match the original book. So what? Did they burn all the copies of the book? Did they delete them all the ebooks offline when they made this new adaptation? No, it's still there. You can still go read your favorite book, and you can prefer your favorite book over the movie adaptation. I really enjoyed the Da Vinci Code book. I actually read that just before the movie came out, because I saw the trailer for the movie, and I was like, that looks really interesting. Oh, it's based off a book. I'm curious about that, and I happen to have it. I happen to have gotten it for Christmas that year. So I read that book, and I really enjoyed the book, and then the movie got made, and I enjoyed the movie, but it wasn't as good as the book. It was missing stuff, but so what? So I like to go rewatch the movie, and it reminds me of stuff in the book that it missed. Why can't you enjoy both? Why, just because it has the same name, do you have to hold them to the same standards? Same standards. This really comes down to superheroes, the real thing. Let's be honest, guys. I've talked a lot about books and stuff, but let's be honest, it's about comic books. And comic book fans are always crying about how it doesn't match the comic books, and oh, he would never do that in the comics. Guess what? No one reads comics. That's right. I love superheroes. I love comic book movies. I've read one comic book in my life. One comic book. That doesn't mean I'm not a fan of Batman. See, I got a shirt on. I got a poster in the background. I love Batman. But guess what? I don't feel like wasting $2 every time I feel like seeing a little story that I get to flip through for 5 minutes. Yes, I appreciate the artwork and all the work that goes into those books, but I don't care about comic books. I really am glad that comic books exist. Don't get me wrong, I love comic books. I've just never read one. I don't care to read one. Well, that's not true. I want to read some. My point is, though, there are two different mediums. There are books, and there are visual arts, and then there's video. There's movies and television, and they're more, and they require more than just pages. And sometimes they require less. Sometimes you can do more in a comic book page than you can do on the live screen. I'm sorry, we can't make outer space look 100% real or as great as it did in your different comic books, but guess what? We have to work with what we got. There was a time that they never made superhero movies because it wasn't worth it. It wasn't worth even trying. But now we're getting them just endless amounts, and I love them all. No, that's not true. I love most of them. I really like most of them. And I don't understand why all you comic book fans and source material defenders have to be so upset. You still got your comic books. Your comic books aren't going anywhere. They're still there. They're still being printed. You can still do something with. You can still read them or whatever comic book people do. I don't know. I've never, like I said, I've read one comic book. I read Batman Year One. It was technically a graphic novel, so it's like, yes, that's a comic book, and I enjoyed it. But guess what? I got it because it came with the DVD of the animated movie as well, and I'm gonna end up watching that DVD more times than I'll ever read the book. It's enjoyable, beautiful artwork. I'm not devaluing comic books or source material in general. I'm saying source material is its own holy grail. Why can't you just either ignore or just enjoy the movies or the adaptations or TV shows or whatever for what they are, which is just somebody who also enjoyed that story wanting to take it to a bigger audience, because that's what movies and TV really is. It's taking those source material stories to a bigger audience, because not as many people read. I'm sorry. If we sold as many comic books as people go to see comic book movies, guess what? The comic book boom in the 90s would have never happened. More comics would be being sold every day, and they'd dial back on the movies because it's cheaper to make those books than it is to make the movies. But guess what? More people want to see the movies. That's the point. Okay? And I'm not saying stop making comic books. I'm not saying that I didn't want comic books or any of the source material. And I'm not saying to stop defending your source material for what you like about it. I'm saying stop using it as your argument against these movies and saying why they're bad. They're not bad just because they didn't match your fantasized version of a book or a comic book. That's no argument for why that movie or television show isn't good, why the adaptation isn't good, because he didn't match exactly what you imagined when you were reading the book when you were younger. Blah, 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 blah. Guess what? It doesn't matter. It doesn't. What you should be happy about is that that character or that story is being brought to more people who can end up enjoying it. Why does your other people's fandom doesn't take away from your fandom? So just get over yourselves, everybody. Just everybody. Get over yourselves. Or just ignore me. I don't care. This is just me trying to get some stuff off my chest for a little enjoyment, so I don't go crazy, you know, fun stuff. Anyways, I finally run out of steam. We did hit 10 minutes. I'm just going to conclude a little bit for you guys. I'm not saying source defenders can't defend their source material. What I'm saying, I'm not saying anybody can do anything. I'm not telling you what to do. That's one thing I want to make clear. I'm not telling anybody what to do. I'm just sharing my opinion about you're pointless on doing it because you still got your story. You still got that original source material that you can go and enjoy, and other people get to enjoy the adaptation, which you don't have to enjoy. I don't care if you didn't like Civil War because it had like almost nothing to do with the comic book series. And then, like, I don't care. I just don't. And why should you? Guess what? The books are still there. You can still go and enjoy them. And you can ignore the movie, or you can watch the movie, or you can do whatever. Do whatever you want. People, just stop telling me to not enjoy a movie because Batman in the comics doesn't kill people. Guess what? In his first appearance, he had a gun. Yeah. So he evolved. I get it. And this is another evolution in the movies. They're evolving. These characters and stories are always evolving. And just because they don't stick to your one fantasized version of it doesn't mean it's not good and enjoyable for everybody else. It just means you're a baby. You need to get over your own feelings. So now that I've offended everybody possible, I'm just going to go and leave it to you. Let me know what you guys think in the comments below. If any of you are source material defenders, let me know some of your rationale for why I should respect that source material so much more than the fact that it got adapted and made into something that made more money. Like Harry Potter, again, back to that. Like, she would have not made nearly as much money if she had never made any movies off of those Harry Potter books. That's just a fact. It's the fact of the matter. She made more money off the movies than the books. And that's why movies and TV shows are made off from books, because they have good stories. I'm not going to keep getting into this, guys. Anyways, hope you guys enjoyed this week, or I pissed you off, or whatever. Let me know in the comments below what you guys think. Be sure to tune in next week and check out our other videos on the channel. And I hope you guys enjoyed. Have a good one.